So a disclaimer that this video does have a lot of mental health talk in it. So if you think that you might be upset by any of the things that I speak about, I don't recommend that you watch all of it. I'm going to leave the times for each of the questions in the description. And the video is quite long, so I recommend you get a drink and some snacks and just relax, and I hope you enjoy the video. Welcome to a Q&A that I asked some people on Snapchat through a YOLO to ask me questions. So I have them all written down because I'm filming on my phone, so I can't film and look at them at the same time. So I'm just going to get into it. How does it feel to sit in exams a year later? So I moved schools to go to my current college right now, but to do so I had to repeat a year because of the education programme. I was doing the international bachelor instead of GCSE, so I had to redo year 10 because I would not have been ready to do any exams when I joined the school. So it was difficult, purely just egotistically, I think, like just being like the oldest, you know, but right now in A-levels, I'm still in year 12, but I'm meant to be in year 13, going to university. So I personally think that it was a really good decision, because if I didn't repeat a year, then I wouldn't have known what I wanted to do at university. So, and also I made such amazing friends having another year at school, and it just made me realise not to take it for advantage and how like important education is. And even though I procrastinate like hell all the time, I still like am really grateful for the fact that I have another year at school. So yeah, I'm really glad that I'm a year back, because it just allows me to have an extra year to just decide, and I feel like it was better than taking a gap year, because this actually helped me figure out what I want. But a lot of gap years, people don't actually figure out that much when they come back. So what do you want to do when you graduate? So until like 2 months ago, I was flipping between fine art and English literature to do at university. But I recently found a course called Scenic Arts and Production Arts, and it just seems like a really good option for me. And it's scenic construction, scenic painting for theatre, and like the background sets and stuff. For the first year you learn everything in the background of theatre. So you go through lighting, sound, scenic painting, construction, costume design, prop making, literally everything. And then the second year you decide what path you want to go down, and then yeah, you just do your BA from that. So I thought that it was a really good option for me, because it is very practical, and I feel like at university I would really enjoy a more practical subject. And with scenic arts, your art and creation is actually getting used and it has a purpose, whereas when you do fine art at uni, it is more about what you want to paint and make. But with scenic arts, I don't have to wait until I figure out how to sell my art. I can see it being used when it's done. I think the purpose drives me the most, and I like painting for the sake of painting as well. So that stuff I wouldn't be able to really sell because I don't feel like it has a meaning to it that people would really understand, or if it just came out subconsciously, I wouldn't really want to sell it. So yeah, I feel like scenic arts is the best option, and it also has a written component in the third year, and you get work experience as well. They teach you how to cut and shape wood and metal and actually make really big things. And I've always actually loved building and creating stuff that I can use. It will just give me a lot more options and transferable skills to a lot of practical jobs in the future. Who do you like to watch on YouTube depending on your mood? So if I'm feeling quite sad or I just need a good laugh, I will 100% go to KSI's second channel, because his videos, especially at the moment, I have not laughed at a video that much in my entire life. Like, out of all the videos I've seen, it has brought out my laughs that I never want anyone to see. And that is like, you all would know that like, you really have to be extremely funny. So I 100% recommend watching him and the Sidemen if you don't already, because they're hilarious. If I'm feeling good, but I want kind of advice on life and lifestyle, there's a channel called The Love and Dare Lifestyle, and she kind of talks about how to create your happiest life, and all of her videos are really informative and very intelligent as well, and she has really, really good and strong advice on how to go about doing that. Activation Vibration is a channel for learning about consciousness. She has a very good energy for me. I personally think that she's amazing and has so much thought out advice that it may be quite hard to understand at first, but she is really, really intelligent emotionally, and whenever I feel like I need to go to like some modern grammar of wisdom, she is like my one. I love watching a channel called Living Big in a Tiny House, and I adore tiny houses, and it is one of my dreams to have a tiny house and build my own one. Seeing all of the incredible designs on there is just so inspiring, and I get so many different ideas, and it's really nice to see how loads of people have downsized. I sometimes feel like I just still want to live in like a tiny house in the forest where no one can like find me, and just live amongst the flowers and everything. Lastly, for when I need to, when I want to watch anything to do with Wicca, I watch The Green Witch on YouTube. Her way of filming is so calming. To me, it's like the equivalent of doing meditation because it's so relaxing. She's only been on YouTube for like, I think 2 years maybe, but you should really check her out. If you like Wicca, then you really just look her up. It's The Green Witch, and you can thank me later. What is the first thing you do when you notice yourself getting depressed to stop it happening? Okay, this is a hard question, because it is so subjective on the day. For example, I had one of those days today actually, and I didn't think that I was gonna film this, but as soon as I started, I feel a lot better. Like, I'm not even in that mood anymore. The most important thing that I would say is try and understand that everything that happens is just a passing moment in your life, and when it happens, it's there, and now you're thinking about it, but it's not happening anymore, and it's in the past, and you can't really change it. It's a lot easier said than done, obviously, because it can encapsulate your mind if you let it. Figure out the things that you know for sure make you feel really good. And for me personally, it's quite interesting because I love art and everything to do with art, but if I'm in that mood, I won't have motivation to do any art because I have a lot of perfectionist tendencies. So even when I'm in that mood, my mindset is like, if I create something and I want to feel better, it has to look good. And a lot of the time I don't have the energy to make it look pleasing. So I don't find that comfort. Whereas if I feel kind of sad or angry, then I can use that intensity of the emotion to make art. But feeling depressed is different because you kind of feel just heavy, like you can't really do anything. So for me, my actual go-to thing is to have a bath and light some candles, turn all the lights off, and just meditate or watch funny videos on my phone. I do like ritual baths, which is just, for me, it's just a way of putting more intent into the bath, so I actually feel the working a lot more than just having a bath. Like, I will put certain herbs or like sprays that I make, put essential oil because that's actually very helpful. Only put a few drops though, because it can be like irritant to the skin. Scent is really important to make you feel a certain way, so if you know that there's a smell that you know makes you feel good or kind of a very nostalgic and cozy smell, then you should definitely use that when you feel low. Drink lots of water, and I'm serious, because that really affects your mental health. Because it just slows you down if you're not hydrated. And I know this personally because I was that person, I'm still that person that hates drinking water, but I like force myself to drink it because I know that I need to. So definitely try and drink at least 6 to 8 glasses a day, and if you can, a bit more, without overdoing it, obviously. Sometimes you just need to face the problem head on, and when you feel depressed, it can derive from not having done something, and then you're putting yourself down for not doing it. Or if you just generally feel anxious, then try and do stuff that you know will relax you. For me, it's meditation, or writing as well. I started journaling thanks to one of my really good friends, so thank you. Because it has really helped just to write it all down. Sometimes when I'm in a really good mood, I'll write myself a letter for when I feel down, and I'll just read it. And it might seem weird to do that, but it really helps. When you notice yourself getting into that state, that's immediately the first thing that you've done is been aware of it, which is the most important thing, because when you're aware of what's happening, you can do stuff to stop it. If you need to cry, then cry. Crying is healthy, and you need to cry once in a while. You have to do little things that help you feel better, that can mean a lot when you do them. So even just like washing your hair, or lighting a candle, or buying a chocolate bar and eating it, like those things can make you feel really good. Trying to figure out what you like and what you would want someone else to do for you. If they would ask you what they can do to help, that first thing that you would think of, you should go and do that yourself if it's possible. Just remember that when you get into that state, it's not forever and it will pass. You will be okay, and it's completely okay to feel that way, and you don't need to just get rid of that feeling. Your body is having that feeling for a reason. It's trying to get your attention. Take it as a lesson and don't kind of wallow in it for too long, because that can really cause harm. Being in complete silence without your phone or without anything, enjoying a view out of your window maybe, is really important, because now especially we're just in front of a screen all the time, and there's constant noise and clutter in your mind. You'll feel a lot better, just more at peace even. That's my answer, and I hope it helps. Okay, so I'm just like refilming one of the questions because I looked through it and I just didn't have like a proper answer. I was just rambling random words for like 15 minutes. What I would change about social media and YouTube, said like on social media there's a difference between face tuning your body and like your face to look a certain way that might kind of be impossible, like completely smooth skin, whereas an actual realistic goal of what you want yourself to look like, that's a lot healthier, because I feel like social media focuses so much on details and it's just not necessary. The body positive movement, it's really good that people are accepting like different body types and how they look, but it goes over the limit to say that kind of if you're overweight then it's like healthy. It's not really the same, but like if there was just a movement for promoting mental health issues and saying that they're not detrimental to someone's well-being, I see that in the same way as the body positivity movement in some cases, but in other ones it's completely fine. And it's just talking about like how important it is to just accept a body and not have so many expectations on it because of society. And that's the thing that I like, because that's the thing that transgresses that expectation of having like an hourglass body with a big ass and big boobs. But like at the same time, social media has a lot of unrealistic movements, even though they seem good, and a lot of the aspects in it are, they're just not like realistic enough. That's like the main thing that I would change, because social media is incredible. Like you can do so many things on it. You can put videos up, you can have like a blog or like a website, and you can sell stuff on it, and it's amazing. It's just that part of those communities that always feel a need to kind of bring about a new trend, and instead of just allowing it to happen naturally, it's like there's almost like a competition of who can be the most unique, which takes away from the word itself. So I hope that cleared it up, because I feel a lot better now that I've said it properly. How many houses have you lived in? Well, I've lived in 2 houses and 1 flat in my whole life. Actually, if you count living in a flat on my own for 2 weeks, then that's 4, but I don't really think that counts. Can we see your room? At the moment, my room is just incredibly messy and unclean, so I am going to clean it and tidy it and organize it, and then I will try to do a room tour. What is your favorite animal? I can't pick one. I have 3 favorite animals. Anything feline, I just love. I'm such a cat person. I've never owned a dog, but I love dogs. But for me, I like just having calmness in my house, and dogs can be very loud, let's just say, and slobbery. So my other 2 favorite animals are a bearded dragon and raccoons. What is the best vegan dish that you've made? My 3 go-to meals are chickpea curry, a carrot soup from scratch, and a mushroom soup from scratch. And I made all of them, and they're really, really good. And I got them from a website called It Doesn't Taste Like Chicken, and it's a really, really good website. So if you're vegan, then I recommend you check it out. And even if you just want food that doesn't have meat and dairy, then you should look at that, because it has really, really good recipes. What's a little thing that makes you happy? Oh, that's such a cute question. A stranger, if they just think that I'm that approachable, that they can just smile at me, especially being in central London, it's like such a rare thing. But yeah, that always makes me really happy. When I see anyone do like the old, like when you jump and you kick both feet to the side, it makes me really happy. And if people wear like those farmers hats, I love that. I don't know why, I love it. So my next question is how I deal with negativity. And this is incredibly subjective to a person, and there's no set of rules how you can deal with negative stuff, but you kind of just have to find your own way of dealing with it. So I'm gonna just talk about what helps me and my experience. Hopefully it can help you. So the first thing is that I put myself and got myself out of the lowest point in my life on my own. Looking back on that now is the one thing that I always hold on to. The resilience that I had as a kid and like a young teenager, and a lot of that came from doing a lot of meditation, thanks to one of my really good friends from my old school. So thank you so much for introducing that. Meditation is like the one thing that got me out of the lowest state I've ever been in, and it took me 3 years to actually completely get out of that state, and I did that with hardly any therapy. I was just happy that I was moving to an art college, so that just gave me kind of motivation. Although I did love my old school, like the people there are so nice, and I regret being so like shy, because everyone there is just really nice, and I'm not like extremely in contact with a lot of them. Those people were always gonna stick to part of my experience growing up, and I couldn't ask for better people to have been around for those years, so I'm really, really glad that I met all of them. I'm really grateful, and that really helped me just stick to a positive mindset. Be proud of yourself for how much you've gone through, and that doesn't mean that you won't go through more of that, but you've become a lot stronger because of it. You can deal with those things in much healthier ways now. Even if you have like a mental health disorder that is really affecting you being able to deal with negative things, you're still waking up every day and doing stuff that you have to do even though you don't want to, and that is amazing, and you're a lot more resilient than you think you are. But other people being negative towards you, if you haven't done anything to cause it and they're just being spiteful, that is entirely their problem and nothing to do with you. Maybe they feel a sort of safeness to you and that makes them uncomfortable, and they're being rude to you because they don't want to acknowledge that other people can be happy. People can be negative for so many different things. Most of the time it isn't because of you, it's because of something that they're going through and they don't know how to deal with it. Just tell them, oh, I'm happy that I could hold this space for you to release all of your negative energy, and I hope that you have a nice day. And then just walk away, and they will just feel embarrassed because you acting like their therapist will make them embarrassed and maybe they won't do it again. Don't believe them when they say bad things about you for no reason. You know the best how you are as a person, and if you know it isn't true, then you have to just keep telling yourself that it's not true. The moment you agree with them, you've let them dictate how you think about yourself, and that is not something that should be from anybody else but yourself. I know it is difficult. You need to ask for help if someone is harassing you or being negative to you. It is not your responsibility to deal with someone who has decided to pick on you for no reason and just be negative towards you. That isn't your responsibility, and teachers at school who've been designated to help you with that, that's why they're there. And you really have to tell somebody and ask for help, because you shouldn't be going through that on your own, and it's not something that you should ever be going through. If it's just little things that annoy you that might not even be classified as bullying, but you feel the impact just as much, then you also need to tell someone. You can't go through bullying on your own. It's just not possible, and I've tried it and it didn't work, so I had to ask for help, and now I'm happy. Still, some of them tried to harass me on social media, and I just see how sad their life is, and that just helps me feel better about myself. So, you know, whenever they bully me, I'm just like, yeah, you have not changed and you're gonna have a horrible life, so just don't believe them, and they're doing it because they're unhappy, and you just need to remember that you are completely more than perfect how you are, and you don't need to do anything for anyone else because they have some unrealistic standard of you that you just don't want to fulfill, or you don't really need to. It's your life, and they're obviously not in control of their own life if they're taking it out on you. So they are just using you to find control in something, and just don't let them control you. If they're commenting like on your appearance, that person can literally F off, because if they don't like how you look, they can go and buy an ice cream and shove it in their eyes so they don't have to look at you. They're their own issue. So yeah, that is just my advice, and I hope that you learn something, because I've been rambling on for 12 minutes just on this section. So the last question is, give me some Wicca facts. So if you didn't know already, I practice Wicca. No, we are not Satanists, so whoever thinks that can get out. We do not worship Satan. We're not evil. We don't do things to harm others. The craft is purely to bring positivity and good energy and good manifestations into your life or someone else's life with their permission. And it's a way of self-help and self-growth. I follow the Wiccan Sabbats, the Wheel of the Year. I like to classify myself as eclectic for the reason that I just love so many different things, and I love like the versatility of it, and I can pick and choose what I do. And Wicca is a faith, and it's more nature worship than gods in like a Christian sense, like the one God. In Wicca, you worship the god and goddess, or some people just, they're monotheistic, so they just worship one of them. But personally for me, I honor them, and I try and connect with them and their energies, but I don't think of them as people. They just represent like the yin and yang of nature. You can pray to them and stuff if you want, if that's how you see them, but there's like a billion ways that you can interpret that, so you don't have to feel like you're in a very strict religion. You have guidelines. For example, we have the Wiccan Read, which not a lot of people actually follow. The main thing about the Wiccan Read is, if it harm none, do what you will. So it's just a guideline of, if it doesn't harm anyone or anything, then you can do what you want. There's like a collective rule that you shouldn't do anything that goes against somebody's free will. It's not ethically moral to do that, and if you want to do a spell for somebody, you just need to ask for their permission. It's a very light and calm, beautiful practice. Paganism is like the umbrella term for a lot of different religions, or like practices and faiths, and Wicca is just one of them. Not all pagans are Wiccans, but all Wiccans are pagan. Not all pagans are witches. All Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccan. Witchcraft in itself can be practiced without a religion connected to it, but if you're a Wiccan, then the practice of magic and witchcraft is kind of embedded into the faith anyway, so that's why they say all Wiccans are witches. Basically, all you need to know about the practice is that it's good. I'm still quite new to this whole thing, so I'm taking it slowly. I don't need to be like a master or anything, like I'm just learning as I go. If you want to get into it, it's a really good thing to do, and it can be very beneficial to someone's mental health as well. It's really helped me in my mental health, so that's the reason why I keep doing it, because I find it really helpful and calming, and you know, it's just a way of putting your intention into something, and you don't just kind of think about it. You can actually physically put it into something in front of you. And yeah, that's the end of the Q&A. I really hope that you enjoyed it and you got some good advice and also got to know me more. I will see you in the next video that I do, which is probably going to be either a room tour or like a productive day in my life. Thank you. I love you guys so much. So, bye.